What are some of the things that we need to adapt, all in terms of digitalization? Now, to discuss that with me is none other than Africa Kiiza here at SEATINI. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, and greetings to the viewers.
All right then, let's get down to this talk. But before we do that, if you don't mind breaking down this very ambiguous word just for the betterment of our audience, digitalization.
It is the actual norm. I mean, the new thing that is happening. I mean, do you own a mobile phone? That's digital. Okay. Do you own a Facebook account, an Instagram account? Do you buy meals online? That's digital. That's digitalization. That's digital trade. You know. Do you do Facebook Live? You know. Do you have all virtual conversations through Skype and all that? That's digital. Do you have a bank account? Do you have an ATM machine so that you were able to withdraw money? That is digital. If you are a border person and maybe they say safe border, do you do cashless transactions? That is digital. So that's this is the everyday life really of that is defining our everyday life. So, but in the not so technical terms, digitalization is majorly a move from the traditional. It's where you find that there is an enhanced and integrated internet, or what they call Internet of Things. So you are having internet defining things, you know, internet determining when you should eat, what you should eat, how many calories, what types of food, internet determining, you know, doing our health systems, you know, that you are having a robot which is using artificial intelligence, able to tell your level of stress, what kind of music you should listen to relieve yourself of stress, what kind of humidity setting your house should be or your bedroom should be, you know. That is the kind of artificial intelligence that we are going into. If it is in the transport sector, you know, that your car will be able to tell, will be able to be driverless. You will no longer need to drive. You will no longer have to go to a driving school to be able to own a car, because artificial intelligence, you'll be having robots, you'll be having your car computer being able to navigate the streets, take you from one place to another. So that is the whole thing of that you are going digital, you are moving beyond the one-on-one and traditional means. In terms of markets, that you don't need to go to Karere to buy food. You don't need to go to Nakasero market to buy groceries. That you just go on your phone, you select maybe margarine is, and you don't have to be having an app. Yeah. I can be on Facebook, you can be margarine and you are on Facebook, and for you what you do is to deliver things to clients who need them. Maybe you deliver fruits to clients. So what you do, I just go, okay, I need 2 kilograms of beans, I need the tomatoes of this amount, I need fruits of this amount, and I contact you. You deliver the goods for me. I have done digital trade because I have not traded actually. I wire you the money, you know. That's in terms of trying to remove, to minimize contact with the person as much as possible. That it is more of computers, robots, internet talking to each other. The challenge with digitalization, I should say, you will always hear it come the word 4th industrial revolution. That the kind of industrialization has been evolving. We are no longer, we started with industrialization of steam and the steam engine. Yeah. Now we have the 20th industrialization of you know, this massive technology, you know, ICT. But now we are moving beyond that to go to the 4th industrial revolution. Yeah, that's digital industrialization and Industry 4.0. And that is now moving beyond just internet to a complex range of internet, robotization, artificial the word artificial intelligence becomes critical in this whole thing, that you are having robots which can even think beyond humans. That a robot will make you, is likely to even determine what you should do. Absolutely.
Shopping malls in cities.
Exactly. So now that is artificial intelligence. That is the kind of industrialization that we are in. For Africa, like I was saying, in industry 3.0, if we say, this kind of industrialization, Africa has been regarded as latecomers to industrialization. I mean, because our levels of technology transfer, our levels of technology are so low. Our level of the infrastructure that is meant to prepare us to be competitors, to be competitive players in Industry 4.0 in the digital world is lacking. What is that infrastructure? One, internet. With internet, we are looking at 3 dimensions of internet. Internet should be available, it should be accessible, and it should be affordable. And that internet should be fixed broadband, high-speed internet. I dare you to load, to try loading a 2 GB document on email, to attach it and try to send it. You will take a whole day.
The frustration there.
Absolutely. What am I saying? In terms of that parameter of internet, the broadband, high-speed internet, its penetration in Africa is just 4%.
Wow.
That is in Africa. Now, when we go to East Africa, minus that, 70% of that 4% is only in Nigeria, in South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, and Kenya.
Just 4 countries?
Yes. So, 4 countries in Africa can boast of having some acceptable, I'm not saying best, but acceptable levels of the infrastructure that would be critical. Yeah, exactly, digital movement, exactly. And we don't want to go even into the television sector and radio sector. You know what that digital movement really caused to the TVs and the radio stations. We have that to those only. That's one. 2, cost of internet is very important. Africa has one of the highest internet prices in the whole world.
Don't you think it's because the market is not ready?
No. It's not the market is not ready. It is government's attitude to being ready. Why am I saying that? Let's go to East Africa. My beloved country, Uganda, is the 3rd most expensive country in terms of internet.
Who even counts?
Data. That is what is, yes, those are the parameters that we determine when we are looking at how expensive is it to buy MBs, to buy internet. Those are the parameters. Are you having
barriers?
Absolutely. Exactly. So that's the challenge. Kenya tops. Kenya is the most, the least expensive. Rwanda is leading now. Rwanda is leading in terms of being affordable in cost of internet. Then Kenya comes in. Tanzania comes in as the 3rd. Uganda, we are the 4th. We are fighting for the 5th position with Burundi. Surprisingly, Southern Sudan has some good scoring. So, what I'm trying to say is that you would expect Uganda, that if you were, in order to prepare a smooth transition and an inclusive transition into the digital world, to enable traders, to enable consumers utilize the digital platforms, you have to do 2 things. For example, 1, knock off this. I am never a fan of OTT.
Those barriers.
I have never been a fan. Even at SEATINI, I have always voiced this. This is one of the most unfortunate taxes that you can have. If at all, by the way, we should be subsidized. I mean, if a serious government that is trying to prepare itself, because I talked about competitiveness and strategic positioning. The truth is, whether you want it or not, Madrin, the world has gone digital. We used to have what they used to call rudimentary means of development, where you would tax even what they used to call the window tax, that someone has windows, and because they want to good aeration and ventilation, you tax them. That's the kind of rudimentary taxation system. In the third generation human rights, access to internet is a human right now. In terms of, if you're looking at the UN third generation human rights, don't ask me the applicability in Uganda. If we do not even have a right of the primary, of the fundamental human rights, access to justice, access to food, these are fundamental. Again, you asked me, why do I think OTT is an infamous tax? And I repeat, and I'm even looking in the camera to the viewers, it is the most infamous. If you have your MP who voted and who continues to vote for maintaining the OTT, know that he is know that he is not worthy of maintaining into the House, into Parliament, because the trajectory of where our economies are moving. We have what we call the Generation Z, Gen Z, the millennials, or what they call the netizens, internet citizens.
The .com.
Yes, exactly. Right, that's the right word, .com. And who are the .com? The youth. The youth, unfortunately, who do not have the hard skills. Things are moving from having the hard skills that you have to know how to hold the lander and be able to do a piece of carpentry, but to know how are you able to design maybe a chair, and virtually you design it, and then we have 3D printing. Yes, actually I should have said that in the beginning, that's another aspect of digitalization, 3D printing. You've seen, for example, people who have prosthetics. Sure. These are 3D printed. Rwanda is already doing 3D printing of prosthetics for limbs, human limbs. This is the kind of government intervention you would want to prepare the generation, the .com. I think we are already saying it. I mean, if you're really willing, why would you impose that infamous OTT tax? If you're really saying that you are serious about transitioning, about facilitating, access to internet. If you're saying that you are facilitating anti-COVID trade, trade which is addressing COVID.
Person to person.
Yes. And that is cashless transaction. And you are maintaining mobile money taxes. Are you really being serious? Are you really facilitating? Are you really facilitating the trade?
No.
If I am to go to restaurant X, let's take an example of Kenya. Kenya right now, even before COVID, by the way, Kenya had, and Tanzania, by the way, they had revolutionized their accounting transactions. In terms of, like, you go in the restaurant, there is after eating, there is a mobile money number where you will pay. There are many restaurants which were not. It was almost like, absurd to give out hard cash in a restaurant. That's the kind of revolution that you should be.
In some economies, it's even illegal.
Absolutely. So that is the first thing. I mean, that's the second thing. 3, we have young innovators who are doing good things. Ugandans, we are so good. Our youth are so good. Like I was saying, that we have transited, Madrin, we have transited from having the hard skills to soft skills.
You create with your mind.
Absolutely. And then the machine, absolutely, you command, and the machine gives you a masterpiece. And people are making a lot of money from that. Now, you are having a whole Ministry of Science and Technology, ICT. I dare you to go into the national budget and you see how much has gone into the ICT. That is 0. It is after Ministry of Trade has 0.4%, followed by ICT 0.3%. You were saying that you were going to rely on 0.3% to digitalize, to overhaul the infrastructure of the country and make it digital. One of the unfortunate things with the digital economy, Industry 4.0, is that it is manifesting itself in an already unequal world. When I was beginning to speak, viewers, I mentioned that Africa in general, Uganda in particular, we are late comers to industrialization. Even in the actual manufacturing, we are still dependent on toothpicks, you know, common matchboxes. We are, I mean, in terms of, we don't have serious industries. Huh? Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the digital revolution, it comes at a time when the world is already unequal. By the way, Africa is the most now unequal country, unequal continent in the world. Now, what that means is that when you look at the key players, for example, let's take an example of trade, digital trade, which they call e-commerce, electronic commerce. Globally, we have 2 key players. No, sorry, we have 5. Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Alibaba. Yeah. Those are the only 5. These are the powerhouses. Before even talking about just a week ago,
Tesla joined that talk as well.
Thank you. What I'm trying to show is that just a week ago, Jeff Bezos, the proprietor of Amazon, his worth just a week ago was announced to $200 billion US dollars. Just out of this COVID misfortune. Why? Because he is the only, if you're saying that you are looking at digital trade, online trading, he's the one that is going to. Exactly. Yeah, Tesla has joined. Where is any African?
Amazon.
Is it African? We don't have any African. I have yet to come to Uganda. Let us wait.
Yeah.
Let us start at the global. Do we have any African digital trade platform?
No.
Let's go at Africa. Do we have any African digital trade platform? Don't tell me Jumia. Jumia is not African. Jumia is not African. Actually, and I'm looking in the camera. Jumia is not African. The proprietor of Jumia is a German.
How about eBay?
Who has eBay is not African. eBay is not African. The proprietor of Jumia is German, who has close to 60% of the shares. And then Nigeria is just the power broker. It's just a broker of Jumia, you know. But the real person who owns it, the brains behind it, the financier behind it is. And now the challenge is, okay, let's say, okay, because we have maybe some 40% shares as Africa, that qualifies Jumia as African. For argument's sake, Jumia has already exited a number of countries. Cameroon, it has exited. Rwanda.
Exited this COVID period?
Absolutely. Surprisingly, Rwanda, where you were thinking that, you know, Rwanda is revolutionizing its ICT. But Jumia has exited Rwanda. It is exiting Tanzania. It is most likely to exit Uganda, the way signals are showing. It is most likely to exit South Africa. Even in Nigeria itself, where it has headquarters, 40% of its offices are no longer operational. So this is the reality that we are facing. I am not demonizing African digital trade startups. No, that would be unfortunate. My name being Africa anyway. That yes, that would be unfortunate. And with SEATINI being a Pan-African NGO, really, we would, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a lot that we need. And that is all about these rules that are governing digital trade. Viewers, when I was starting the conversation, I said that digital trade is beyond me being able to get my phone and I order for pizza. No. The question is, what rules have made it able for me to be able to, have made it possible for me to be able to order for that pizza? Let me give an example. One of the discussions we are having now in the conversations around electronic commerce, online trading, is that we need local content, employing of local people. The current, and to be able to do that, you need local presence. Because they ask, how would Amazon employ Ugandans if it is not in Uganda?
It will have to set shop here.
Thank you. Now, do you know what these companies are saying? Oh, no. That is trade distorting. That is not facilitating trade. That is now a barrier to trade. So those are the rules that we are now pushing for. Another one. When it comes to the world of pharmaceuticals, we have had companies... No, let me not go to that. Rights, human rights, our data rights. Because I should also say, viewers, that whenever you hear about digital economy, the raw material is no longer gold, no longer your oil. What you viewer who is really saying, oh, we have our oil, in the next how many years our oil will start flowing. Oil is no longer the resource that you can boast about. We can ask Angola. We can ask, oil is no longer really the highest and the most expensive resource in the industry 4.0 is data. Your data. Let me give an example. We all have Facebook accounts. Okay, at least majority of the viewers have Facebook accounts. Even Smart 24 TV has a Facebook account. When you were creating the Facebook account, you were asked for data. When you were born, biodata, the biodata. Do you have access to your biodata? We do not. It is Zuckerberg.
Who has my information right now?
You remember the saga where Zuckerberg was taken to court before Congress because he was able to sell people's data to Russia, and Russia was able to use it in manipulating the USA elections. We have what we call, and because of data being just like oil, for example, like Bunyoro Kingdom is asking for its own share of the oil, because under the Mineral Resources Act, where the raw material is, where the resource is coming from, there should be that community share, the share for the community. Absolutely. Now, under data, there are what we should call community rights over data, because it is my data as Africa. It is my data. So you will realize, let me give you one other example for the viewers maybe to understand. You might have, I bought this watch on Jumia, for example. You might have, it's a cheap watch. It's a very cheap watch, I can assure you. You will realize that you might have bought, let's assume you bought that dress on Jumia. When you buy a dress on Jumia, on your Facebook account, when you are scrolling afterwards, you will start seeing adverts coming in. You can try out all this kind of dress also.
They share this data?
Absolutely.
Is there
now tell me, how is Facebook able to know? How is Facebook able to advertise to you other types of dresses that you should buy.
Because I saw, I was interested, I bought them.
Because Facebook sells our data to Jumia. Facebook sells our data to these Amazons, to these companies like Amazon, Alibaba, and all that. So what I'm saying, that the owners of these platforms, digital trade platforms, are making money out of us, by the way. We don't have control to our own, we don't have a right on our own data.
And on what they use it for.
When it comes to the platforms, digital trade platforms, or e-commerce, you will hear e-commerce, digital trade. Those are the same, just use interchangeable words, but they mean the same. But when you look at the platforms where we do this kind of trading, in East Africa, none of the leading ones is East African. Jumia is the leading one, and it's not East African. And that has its own implications in terms of revenue, in terms of employment, meaningful employment. Don't tell me about this our delivery boys and all that. No, I'm looking at the senior management positions and all that. That is a small thing. But when you look at Uganda, ever since lockdown, we have had. I saw a story on Smart TV website. They were interviewing this teacher he was a primary school. He was a secondary school teacher, but when lockdown came in and all that, he went to Nakasero Market. And he was able to, he spent a whole day studying the prices and all that. And he started up a small online delivery system.
Of groceries and vegetables.
Yes, of groceries, and vegetables. That is being innovative. Unfortunately for that brother of mine, he's coming at a time when, yes, like we said, there are many challenges when it comes to digital trade. Address. Much of our address is, do you see that big avocado tree? When you reach on that,
slope,
exactly.
And then take the right.
You find the woman is roasting gonja. When I come and that woman is not roasting gonja, is not there.
You get lost.
We don't have address. Real addresses, GPS and all that. That's the first thing. Maybe that is complicated. We may say, those are for the maybe Abazungu. Fine. Trust. Sometimes I have often seen people complaining, consumers complaining. I ordered for an electronic, this make, I received this thing. I received something different.
Especially in the appliances.
Absolutely. That is also the component of guarantees. They are not giving guarantees and all that, So that already is the big thing that can really knock, because we should also still maintain that the fact that our economies are predominantly rural-based. Largely, really, majority of our population. I remember when I was at Smart TV, Smart 24, some time ago, talking about cities. Please, when I talk about rural areas, when I talk about rural areas, I am still maintaining the Mbarara's districts or cities, whenever you want to call it, the Gingers as
rural?
They are rural areas. Kampala itself is... I told you that Kampala itself, on the parameters of what makes a city, Kampala itself is not a city. Why am I bringing this kind of discussion? That when it comes to our economies, we are largely rural economies. Yeah. Majority of the people are in the rural areas. So for you to be able to succeed in digital trade, you have to create a link through how do you tap into the rural areas to connect to the urban consumers. Let's take an example of now, like my brother, the primary school teacher. If he was, for example, able to, get poultry farmers in rural Masindi, or vegetable farmers, in rural Iganga, and you are able to get groceries at cheaper prices, and then you connect to the town. Even us in our urban centers, Banachibuga, very few of us buy goods online.
Sure.
And why? Because of those aspects I've tried to mention. One of the challenges we are forgetting is that digital trade is not really on Jumia, on Chichu, or on Bazebo, or Chikubo online. That is not actually, that is just a minuscule. That's a small percentage of digital trade. Digital trade is, if you go on Facebook, Mama Tendo. I usually hear people talk of Mama Tendo. Mama Tendo, the chase, Mama Tendo, what? And you see someone posting, prices maybe for hair, prices for T-shirts, prices, You see in lockdown, people have learned new skills of culinary skills like baking. Yeah. No one will post on Jumia. No upcoming baking person owning a bakery abroad will really go to Jumia to press. No, because it's supply. Because that's already too much a price. What do? Create a Facebook page, and
even on your status, on your WhatsApp status.
Exactly.
Put
but tell me,
price of a cupcake
absolutely, and those are, and actually that is one of the most successful upcoming or startup digital trade that we are seeing. Now, the most unfortunate bit is that, like I indicated at the beginning, we do not have a policy, we do not have a strategy.
Whatsoever.
Exactly.
So everyone is operating without guidelines.
That is also okay. That's one aspect. But also another aspect, like I was saying, really. So if you are bringing taxes that are going to make it hard for someone in Uganda, for my sister or for my brother there, to be able to post on his WhatsApp, I am making a good, maybe craft shoes, I'm making cupcakes, then you're not facilitating them. That is one. Two, in terms of payment systems, like you are saying, you talked about streamlining payment systems. Much of our online trade is still in cash. I also still pay on delivery. That's it. I have to be honest.
You pay
the
cash?
truth shall set you free. That's what the Bible says, and I'm speaking the truth, viewers.
So
I also pay.
I also
pay cash. I also pay cash on delivery. That's the truth. And why do I pay cash on delivery? Because, by the way, the challenge is like you were talking about in the break about the challenges with online trading, return policy. Their return policy. If I buy a good today on an online platform, I will not mention any online platform, but let's say an online platform, and I've already paid already. If I pay in advance, maybe through Visa and all that, or Momo, and I find something wrong with the product, believe me, it will be a tug of war to get that money back, that refund policy. That I will actually end up even spending more in time to follow up and all that. If let's say I had paid 25,000 for a product, I might end up using like 10,000 to follow up on the return, on the refund of the. So that's the challenge that we are also having, the streamlining payments. But the payments, which should also be, like you are saying, streamlining the conditions. How do you seek a refund and all that? So that's another aspect. Another challenge, and so another issue that we should look into as East Africa is the youth, tapping into the creativity of the youth. We are a younger region. We are a younger country as Uganda. 65% of our population is the youth. If you use the category, the Ugandan category, where a 40 years person is also a youth, then that makes it like 70% of our population as Uganda being youths. But the challenge is that as they are embracing these soft skills, this manipulation, coming up with apps, coming up with with innovative digital technologies, we are not supporting them. In terms of, for example, the stimulus package, when you look at the direction of His Excellency,
where the packages were channeled to.
Exactly. As per His Excellency directives, I see a misdirection, I see ill-advising of His Excellency. He was ill-advised in some aspects. I agree with him that we need to focus on productive sectors that trigger production. Like agriculture, very excellent, right? But in where we are going,
the agriculture will not thrive if we don't prepare.
If we do not digitalize it. Digitalization. I would have expected, for example, His Excellency to say, the President to say, you know what, we need to come up, we need to have a stimulus package that supports entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, those that are into technology, internet technology, ICT, and all that. Because, Madrin, whether we want it or not, this is where the future is. Internet and technology. But the challenge is how you are able to, like you are saying, to create a thin line, to strike a balance between human beings' survival in the era of robots, in the era of internet. Yeah. That is very important. And to do that, you need to do research. You need to invest in research. You need to invest into innovation. You need to invest into. So, apart from as science, as emphasis, for example, is being put on science subjects and all that. Those subjects also that are not only medical related, but ICT related, I think would be very important. And how you support them would be critical. So, students, I would have expected like a stimulus package that supports such innovators. On okay, if we are going to promote maybe agricultural trade. Currently, I come from Isinjiro, and I remember indicating that my grandfather is one of the good growers of bananas, and he would tell you. A whole lorry of matoke, you would start begging someone, please take 50 bunches of bananas at 10,000. I mean, but remember there are by the way some places which do not have food. Let's take Masaka here with pineapples. Pineapples are now, this is the season of pineapples. Pineapples are cheap, but there are areas where they do not. If you are able to support the youths in agriculture. Absolutely, yeah. So if you are able to facilitate, support the youth in agriculture, and another challenge is that our youth are shunning agriculture. We are running away from agriculture in terms of getting a hoe and So how do we make it more appealing?
By fostering them alternatives.
How do we make it more more trend and all that?
Yeah.
If for example you are able to come up with an app that shows you, okay, if you are looking at pineapples, these are the kind of pineapples that Farm X has, this is the kind of maybe, so that if I know that on this platform I can get pineapples, I can know how many tons are available, I can know how much, then if I'm a buyer of pineapples, I would say, okay, I want maybe 1,000, maybe 10 tons of pineapples, or maybe 2 tons. I order for them. I get, that is how you are revolutionizing agriculture. When we are looking at exports to markets, like EU markets, other developed markets, they are looking for traceability from the farm where is this farm located and all
that
that.
can only be done effectively using dictum.
I like the word effectively. But these ones of scribbling and absolutely no. Okay. So this is really the yeah. And lastly, in agriculture, for example, last on the issue of how do you revolutionize, for example, agriculture in the post-COVID. In terms of, for example, mechanization, I know we are not yet there. In Europe, you'll find robots determining, the cows are stressed, so let us play music for them. They are playing classic jazz for Beethoven for the cows to put them in a good mood, and then good milk. Okay, ours we have to even issue first to. But what I'm trying to say that agriculture has moved in a way that it's a chain of automated machines, no? That are from the planting to the harvesting to the transporting to the packaging to the machines. There is less human contact with the food. There is less human contact with the drinks and all that. And that is important. If you are looking at the COVID-19 measures, you may say we are not yet there as Uganda. I agree. That is wishful thinking. And it is wishy-washy of me to really think that we can have that kind of agriculture. But
because I was about to tell you, you're being overly optimistic. We already don't have enough electricity to even channel irrigation schemes.
Exactly. Now,
Even for the green gardens to even have some lights.
Absolutely.
And you're asking for
no, absolutely. That is the beginning. That let us look into digitalization. Let's say let us digitalize agriculture, and we agree. What does it take to digitalize agriculture, to revolutionize agriculture? Thank God this is the revolutionary government. So they understand the art of war, of revolutionizing things. Yes. Suppose it is the one that is. Yes. That maybe it takes A, B, C, D to create a revolution in agriculture, to digitalize it. What can we afford? Maybe we can afford A, B, C, D. This is a step. You don't need to do much. This is a step. Take an example really of, let's say, having a well-planned system where you find that when it comes to, let's say, access to seed, you can just go to this maybe a portal of Ministry of Agriculture, and you know that I can access good quality seeds and good quality maybe fertilizers from A, B, C, D.
Make orders and you'll have
the
order.
Absolutely. That does not require a lot of money. That does not require robots. That does not require robots.
It will require that villager or that farmer deep down in the village in East India to have internet or to even have the technical know-how to operate that smartphone. I know that they should.
I agree. But there is already the kind of digital trade that is happening with farmers, for example, receiving prices of agricultural produce on their Kabiriti phones.
Right.
On their Ericsson phones, those big phones.
SMSs?
Yes, SMSs. But these are not being done by government, but they are being done by private, and also private players in the agriculture sector. Now, if you already, for example, have that, strike a balance and an understanding, with private players in the agriculture sector, in agricultural trade component. How do you? So that is something we need to look at. Lastly, maybe I could look at the issue of unemployment.
Yes, because you talked about replacing my traditional carpenters.
Yes.
With only this one person, the engineer, who operates the software, puts the design, and the machine does the work. So,
exactly.
And we just adding in the curves.
The biggest fear, not fear by the way, even it is already happening. Amazon itself, when Amazon in 2015, it displaced a whole of, let's say, I think, greater CBD combined, a whole outlet of like digital, those which used to have, for example, that I have a bookshop, or I run a bookshop, I run, they have been totally wiped out. They're no longer there. So yes, in the banking sector, people have already lost their jobs. Yes, that's the truth.
Replaced with ATM machines.
Absolutely.
We no longer have tellers.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, exactly, that even in terms of depositing, you can do it from your ATM machine. And you realize that actually now they are trying to discourage banks to have ATM cards which don't have a Visa kind of, you know. Yes, that has its own politics. Now, when it comes to on the ports, the masons, those who do the lifting and all that, I mean, the robots have taken over. So yes, I agree. The robots have taken over. They are coming for our jobs.
All in the name of digitalization.
Yes, I agree.
Both industrial revolution.
I agree. However, one thing that we are forgetting is that robots are made by man. Likewise, they can be controlled by man. The only issue is, how do you train our human resource to be able to have the skills to work with these robots? Let me take an example. In the banks. No. Secretarial work. Even in the banks anyway. You used to have ledger, I think they were called ledger officers, I think, who to spend hours and hours, something that a computer can do. Let's take secretarial work. We used to have these typewriters, and then afterwards you put in a rolling machine, when there is a mistake, you do again, now. Exactly. Fine. When computers became common and all that, those who were unable to upgrade their skills, they lost out on the jobs. But those who were able to upgrade on their skills, you end up having the job made easier. So I agree that there is fear for loss of jobs, which is true. There is going to be loss of jobs. That's the truth. But we need to upgrade our skills. We need to upgrade. That's the first thing. Upgrading skills. 2, looking into how do you fit in. Like I was saying, we are not going to be combine harvesters in agriculture.
No, you can't.
I mean, we are not going to say that we don't want, for example, combine harvesters. We don't. We really, that would be absurd. But let us position ourselves. Okay, what are the combine harvesters doing? They are harvesting produce. What is going to be the produce? It's supposed to be traded.
Position yourself in that chain.
Yeah. Let me create. You can even decide to create a fleet, let's say, of supplying tractors. It's through an app that there are some MSMEs who are trying to come up with that kind of concept. As we are mechanizing agriculture, can we try to make tractors affordable and all that? But how do we do that? Okay, maybe let us create a platform where we can, be able to connect the potential farmers or peasants who need this service to be able to approach us and, position yourself there. You don't even need to be having these tractors. You don't even need to be, for example, having, let's say, for example, this transport business. I don't need to be having a car or a fleet of cars to enter into transport business. Let's look at these women whom were profiled on Smart 24 TV last week, even this week, I think, who are now creating their own feminist taxi. They don't have cars, but I know Madrin has a car, Sanso has a car. How do we link up with you? The only thing I provide is a platform for you to be able to operate. To me, I think that's the kind of revolution that we need to, the creativity that we need to start thinking about. And of course, that will require also the support of government in terms of access, maybe finance which is tailored specifically for that. This one-sided thinking of production that finance should go for these people in actual agriculture and all that. No. That no longer works. That is rudimentary kind of development. Things are changing, and that will also require lastly transitional, policies which are helping for that. That will require a parliament which really should shun policies which are going to make it very hard to access the internet, to make internet affordable, and to make internet available. That's the kind of discussion that should be tried to be looked into. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. We need to accept that things have changed, that the world is changing. But we also need to accept, while we accept that, we also need to accept the fact that we are purely agricultural economies. And we need to tame the digital industrial revolution. We need to tame it according to our needs and requirements. When I'm not doing history here, but man existed because he was able to tame nature to its needs. Now that's also what we need to do. That we are into the internet world, we are into the artificial intelligence world. How do we tame it to be able to facilitate that's the first thing. But to be able to tame it, what do? You have to create the necessary skills, impart the necessary skills into, I still insist, the Generation Z, the.com, the millennials, the youth. These are the critical resource that would trigger us into that. That's the first thing. Two, government, I repeat, the role of the state in development has always been important. The state has to be in the driving seat to strategically direct the economy. The economy. And what does that mean? That the state has to revolutionize ICT, has to revolutionize digital technologies. And that requires, the way you look at how they partition the budget is very important. So budgetary support is very important. Skills upgrading, which goes back now to us with into the employment sector. Skills upgrading is also very important, so that we are positioning ourselves into. And lastly, which is most important, second last is that we also need to look at, for example, how do we support the upcoming innovators of digital trade platforms, of digital, whether medical platforms, whether agricultural platforms. How do we need to facilitate them. We need to study their models, replicate them somewhere else into other regions to make them work. The last one, and which is most important, is to ensure that you have a digital revolution which is trying to fit exactly where majority of your economy is situated, which is agriculture. We are not going to outcompete Japan when it comes to digitalization in the 3D printing. We can't do that. But we can outcompete Japan in agriculture, in revolutionizing agriculture. That one we can, because we are purely an agrarian economy. Japan is not. So trying to tailor the digital revolution into our areas where we easily identify ourselves into becomes very important.
And taking advantage of that. Thank you so much for this tremendous talk.